Vulnerability, it's our strength. It's our capacity to communicate. Humans are emotional, and we've been taught that to be strong is to disconnect and shut down. But what happens? It alienates us. It separates us. And we're taught that from when we're very small. You know, don't cry. Be a man. Stop being angry. Be more feminine. We have all these ideas, and none of them are real. Because the beauty of the human experience is the sensitivity, is the emotion, is the creativity. So once we connect with the two and we find that internal balance, that's when we have real strength. And that comes from being vulnerable. You know, if we're not vulnerable with each other, we can't communicate. We're constantly dismissing. We're not opening. And one of the biggest problems within our relationships is our incapacity to communicate. And it's not just on an individual basis. It's on a world basis. You know, that's where everything's generated. That incapacity to communicate, to discuss, to sit, to be real, to be vulnerable. Because ultimately, all humans want the same thing. They want love. That's what humans want. Because they think everything else brings them love, power, control, financial structures, dominance. Why do we want all of that? Because we think it brings us love, brings us respect. But in reality, everything is separating us. Our capacity to communicate, to be vulnerable, to share our fears, to open to receive, to give, all of those aspects are power. You know, I'd go into high security prisons where lots of men from all different walks of life, and they start unifying and they start to connect. You know, all humans are the same. They connect with that sensitivity. But we're taught to do the exact opposite. And it's so against our true nature. You imagine people go to war and they start killing everyone. Do you think that's normal? A normal behavior for a human? A sensitive being? No. It takes a lot of control. It takes a lot of disconnection. It takes a lot of internal violence. But that's what we're taught to do. So our vulnerability is one of our most important aspects. And we're taught to remove it. And that's what's wrong with the whole structure. Well, it's part of what's wrong. You know? We're not taught to be happy, we're not taught to be emotional, we're not taught to connect, we're not taught to trust in ourselves, we're not taught to sustain our own unique qualities. We're taught to become structured. Mm? So yeah,
Entonces,
vulnerability is not
la
weakness.
vulnerabilidad no es debilidad,
It's the exact
es
opposite.
exactamente lo opuesto.
It takes a lot of power
Requiere mucho poder
to expose ourselves.
exponerse,
Because
exponerse a
one
uno
of the
mismo.
biggest things for
Porque una de las
humans
cosas más grandes para los seres humanos
is to protect their
es
image.
proteger su imagen.
What do people think about
¿Qué
me?
es lo que piensa la gente de mí?
That's the most important thing.
Eso es lo más importante.
And
Y la
vulnerability
vulnerabilidad
seems to work against that.
parecería funcionar contra de eso.
But everyone can see anyway.
Pero sí, de todos modos, todo el mundo puede ver todo.
Yeah?
¿Sí?
Good. So be
Y
vulnerable.
bueno, sé vulnerable.
A genuine person is the most precious thing there
Una
is.
persona genuina es lo más preciado que existe.
Someone that's real,
Alguien que sea real,
vulnerable,
vulnerable,
speaks their truth,
que hable su verdad,
doesn't
que
compromise,
no transija,
not always looking for
y que no
approval.
esté siempre buscando aprobación.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.